And we found that the biggest challenge, which is not surprising, is that financial institutions was not about legacy technology. They didn't fail because of legacy technology. It was not just about that, but it's about legacy leadership. And you touched a little bit upon that in the last question. But is this true, and why is this important to think about?
I think that's a very good point, Fatma, that you brought up. And I think again, having been in this industry for the last 4 or 5 years, I do believe that that is the right thinking. Technology is the easy part, right? We were never concerned about replacing legacy technology, but it is the legacy leadership. But legacy leadership, in my view, is the symptom. But the root cause, we need to really find out the root cause, right? And unless and until we find out what are the reasons where the leadership is in some cases not moving from point A to point B, if we can identify those problems, I think it's easier to communicate, coach, and mentor the banking industry to move away from legacy leadership to a more modern leadership and open leadership, right? So what are the couple of things that we have again noticed from a practical perspective? Number one, it is a fear of the unknown, right? I don't know what I'm heading into. I don't know what is going to be look like. A lot of people come and talk to me about AI and crypto and blockchain, but how does that impact me in my day-to-day working? How does it impact my bottom line, my top line? How does it impact my customer experience, etc. Right? So, and to be honest, the fintech industry is still maturing, and there is no available use cases that can give the ultimate comfort to the banking industry on how things may move, right? So there is a little bit of risk here. There is a little bit of fear, and some people, as I said, again, coming from a leadership perspective, you have to understand that you have to overcome that fear of the unknown. You have to take that gamble because again, the second option is to not do anything, and that's not where you want your bank to be, right? That's number one. The second thing is, again, coming out of the comfort zone. I've heard a lot of times that we have been doing it before. We have been doing it for a long time. This is how we were supposed to do things. This is how we've been doing things, right? So coming out of the comfort zone and challenging yourself. Again, if I take my example, I have about 23 years of experience, but when we started into the fintech world, I had to unlearn a lot of my skill set, and I had to learn a new skill set, right? Because that's whatever I've learned in a traditional way of banking technology is not going to work in the area of digitization. So I started by applying it myself, right? What do I need to unlearn and what do I need to reskill myself? So, and it was not easy, by the way, because I was coming out of my comfort zone. I had to adopt a lot of new things, and it was not easy. It was a nightmare story initially, right? But that is the brave leadership that we talk about, right? The modern leadership that we talk about. The third aspect when it comes to root cause is the control and the power, right? A lot of organizations in the past were dependent on, I can do this and it is in my remit and it is my control. And when it is driven by the automation or digitization, on the visual aspect, it looks like that the control of the power is being lost. But that's only the perception, but not the reality. But again, that needs to be, we need to overcome that. And the last point I want to talk about is the people versus the process dependency, right? Again, we've seen a lot of organizations where we are dependent on people, right? That person in that department does it this way, and that's why it's happening this way, right? Versus, we have to modernize our process according to the evolution and the digitization that is happening in the ecosystem. For a very small example, your policies and procedures, which is a very dull area if I want to talk about that, but you have to completely revamp that to enable your digital aspirations. People talk about technology, people talk about products and services and customer experience, all very important points. But you are, as humans, we are dependent on certain processes, and if your processes are of legacy, then your leadership will always be legacy as well, because you're driven by the process which has never been changed and has been in the game for the last 15 years, and you have not been adopting to the change in the pace, basically. So those are the 4 points I think to think about if you want to move away from a legacy leadership to a more modern, bold, and brave leadership, in my view.